As previously mentioned, Shadore Sanders will be taking the reins at quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And this isn't just speculation anymore, it's official. The Browns rookie, once an overlooked 5th-round selection, is now stepping into the spotlight. Circle October 12th. That's when Shedeur is expected to start against Minnesota, and make no mistake, he's not just playing, he's auditioning to take over this franchise. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. Shadore Sanders deserves more starts than any quarterback on this roster. Why? Because he's the only one who exudes star power every time he touches the field. And now the haters, they're speechless. Because Shedeur has officially been named the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. This is not a drill. He's going to showcase his skills on a national platform. This is the moment that separates potential from production. Shedeur isn't your average 5th-round flyer. He's a disruptor, a playbook assassin with elite poise, high football IQ, and the confidence to match. The same quarterback they dismissed months ago just bulldozed through veterans, politics, and depth chart gatekeeping to seize control of one of the NFL's most volatile QB rooms. This isn't hype. It's a hostile takeover. And the league isn't ready for it. Breaking news. According to Cleveland.com, the Browns plan to start Shadore Sanders in their preseason opener against the Panthers. Now, sure, Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel are nursing hamstring injuries, and 40-year-old Joe Flacco is being preserved for the regular season. But let's not kid ourselves. Shedeur earned this start. Just a few months ago, Cleveland was drowning in the same rinse-and-repeat chaos. Quarterback drama, rotation fatigue, broken trust. There was no process, just panic. Then came Shedeur. Not hailed as a savior, just another developmental arm thrown into the mix. But the moment he walked into the building, the energy shifted. The doubt didn't vanish. He crushed it. He replaced apathy with urgency, turned whispers into headlines, and now he's rewriting the script. This is a golden opportunity to prove he belongs not just in the conversation, but at the top of the depth chart. If we're talking pure talent, Shadore's the alpha in that quarterback room. Suddenly, the chatter in Cleveland wasn't about who's next, but how far can this kid take us? And that wasn't ESPN fluff. That was coming straight from the locker room. Veterans who've watched this franchise chew up and spit out quarterbacks finally said it aloud. We've got our guy. And they weren't talking about the one with the $230 million contract. Here's the truth. Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski didn't want this. They drafted Dillon Gabriel 2 rounds earlier, trying to avoid the Shedeur conversation altogether. But Jimmy Haslam wasn't just curious, he was all in. Stefanski wanted control, familiarity, and slow development. Haslam wanted electricity, leadership, and a new era. He didn't want to wait and see. He wanted to watch Shedeur lead from day one. And once camp began, the debate was over. The more Shedeur showed out, the harder it became to justify benching him. This wasn't just promise, it was domination. While the $230 million man stood quietly on the sideline, a 5th-rounder stole the keys. Not because they gave them to him, but because he gave them no choice. At that moment, the Browns stopped being Stefanski's team. They became Shadore's. Let's be honest, no other quarterback in that building has outperformed him in camp. Period. Every day, Sanders was the first to arrive, the last to leave. He ran drills like the playoffs were on the line. He wasn't just working harder, he was executing cleaner, faster, and sharper. With 2nd and 3rd stringers, he made magic. 3rd-string wideouts were turning into YouTube highlights. And when he faced the first-team defense, he carved them up too. So when people say, well, this is why he was drafted in the 5th round, they're missing the point. The round doesn't matter, the results do. Shadore Sanders isn't just climbing the ladder, he's tearing it down behind him. This is why you're buried on the depth chart. This is why you're not considered starter material in the NFL. Shadore Sanders hears the whispers. He knows exactly what's at stake. And that's precisely why he steps onto the field with something to prove every single rep. Let this sink in. He was torching the starters, using the backups. The coaching staff kept rotating him out, trying to balance the reps, but every time he stepped in, he made it impossible to ignore. By the end of week 2, it wasn't just clear, it was undeniable. He wasn't just performing, he was outclassing every quarterback on the roster. And when the veterans began backing him, everything changed. One offensive lineman went straight to the coaches and said it plainly. "We finally found our quarterback." That kind of endorsement doesn't come from hype. It comes from witnessing poise under pressure, from watching someone execute with precision day after day. Even Joe Flacco, a Super Bowl MVP, paused the film after a deep corner route and labeled it a Year 5 red. That's a level of respect you don't earn by talking. You earn it by showing up and delivering. Receivers took notice too. Some even requested to run with Sanders, saying, "He puts it where only I can catch it." That kind of trust, it's rare, especially from vets. Shedeur didn't need to campaign for leadership, he earned it. Through execution, through consistency, through total command of the offense. By the end of training camp, there was no more debate. The locker room had already chosen their guy. "We love this young man. He's a relentless worker. He has fun in the building. Every meeting, every rep, he's getting better." That's from the coaching staff, after they realized the plan had changed. Kevin Stefanski thought he had a timeline, thought he could gradually ease Shedeur into the system, protect the veterans, manage expectations. But within 2 weeks, that plan imploded. Every time Sanders touched the field, he exposed the gap, not just in talent, but in speed, vision, and decision-making. The staff noticed. Systems got tweaked. Playbooks got sharper. The offense evolved, not to protect Shadore, but to unleash him. And suddenly Stefanski wasn't steering the ship anymore. He was reacting to the quarterback who refused to wait. Then came the preseason opener. Under the lights, Shadore Sanders erased any lingering doubt. From the first snap, he played like a 10-year vet. Lightning-fast reads, razor-sharp throws, clinical efficiency, 2 touchdown drives and a field goal in just 1 quarter. No panic, no rookie mistakes. Just a quarterback with full command of the huddle. That wasn't a debut, that was a statement, and it changed everything. Sanders didn't plead for a chance, he seized it. And it didn't take the greatest preseason performance in NFL history to prove it. He'd already done that every day at camp. Let's be honest, by the end of the preseason, Shedeur wasn't just the leader of the offense, he was the heartbeat of the entire team. He brought urgency to practice, discipline to the film room, and an elite work ethic that veterans couldn't ignore. He didn't just win the locker room, he transformed it. And if you follow this story, you already know. This isn't some rookie Cinderella story. This is a hostile takeover. A quarterback revolution happening in real time. So yeah, smash that like button, drop a comment, and hit subscribe. Because Shadore Sanders isn't just rewriting Cleveland's playbook, he's shaking the entire NFL to its core. Social media exploded. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everyone's talking. Did you see what Shedeur just did? Stand Up 12 became a national movement overnight. The same analysts who ignored him on draft night are now calling him the steal of the year. Not because he's flashy, because he's unstoppable. Week 1 was the true test, and Sanders aced it. Opened the game with a flawless touchdown drive. Read defenses like a veteran, like finished the half with 187 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 sacks. While others were theorizing, he was executing. We talk all the time about quarterback being the most important position in sports. Spent a lot of time with Shedeur during the process. He's hyper-accurate, composed in the pocket, and had a highly productive college career. By mid-season, it was official. Shadore Sanders wasn't just holding the job, he was redefining it. Defenses couldn't figure him out. Game after game, he stayed unshakable. Comebacks? Check. Surgical drives? Check. Shredding elite secondaries? Weekly. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson remained on the sideline. Still on the payroll, but already irrelevant in the locker room. Because the players knew who their quarterback was, and they weren't looking back. Remember 2012? The Seahawks gave Matt Flynn a huge contract, then a third-round pick named Russell Wilson. Took the job and never gave it back. We're watching that moment again. Now let's be honest, if you're paying attention, you can feel it. This kid was labeled early on as arrogant, maybe even entitled. A classic coach's son who walked in like he already owned the building. But once you actually hear him speak, once you observe how he's maneuvered through his early days in Cleveland, the perception flips completely. Listen to how his teammates speak about him. Watch how he carries himself in interviews. He's composed, he's articulate, and above all, he's humble. Not in a forced, media-trained way either. It's quiet confidence. The kind that doesn't need to prove itself with noise. The kind that makes you lean in and pay attention. And that's exactly what makes what's happening behind the scenes so intriguing. Because while the national media debates whether Shadore Sanders even deserves a real shot, something monumental is unfolding at Browns OTAs and nobody's talking about it. According to ESPN Cleveland's latest internal tracking, this so-called fifth-round flyer isn't just showing flashes. He's obliterating the competition. The numbers are jaw-dropping. The tape is undeniable. And the whispers inside the Browns facility? They're getting louder. But here's the twist. Kevin Stefanski may be playing a deeper game than anyone realized. While the league is focused on buzz and depth charts, Stefanski appears to be executing a meticulously calculated plan. A plan that could either redefine this franchise or backfire spectacularly. Let's break it down. First, the numbers. Shadore Sanders is completing 77% of his passes in camp. That's not just solid, it's elite. For context, he led the FBS with a 74% completion rate last year while being sacked 42 times. Most quarterbacks would crumble under that pressure. Shedeur? He got sharper. Now compare that to the rest of the Browns' QB room. They're hovering around 58%. That's not a small gap, that's a gulf. A chasm that signals a clear separation in performance and poise. But instead of fast-tracking Shedeur to the first-team offense and triggering a media frenzy, Stefanski is intentionally keeping him with the second and third units. Why? Because Stefanski understands something most coaches don't. Controlled expectations. Strategic development. Shielding a young quarterback from the spotlight just long enough to sharpen his sword in the shadows. He's letting Shedeur evolve without the crushing pressure of headlines and hot takes. And it's working. According to Pro Football Focus, Shadore's real superpowers aren't flashy. He doesn't have the bazooka arm of Josh Allen. He doesn't scramble like Lamar Jackson. What he does possess is rarer, elite processing speed, pre-snap awareness, anticipation football IQ that reads like a graduate-level textbook. These are the intangible traits that thrive in Stefanski's offensive ecosystem. One that values sharp decision-making over spectacle. Remember, this is the same system that once made Baker Mayfield look like the future. Imagine what it could do with a quarterback who actually fits the mold. Now here's where the masterstroke becomes visible. Sources from The Athletic and within the Browns themselves are all saying the same thing. Shedeur doesn't look like a fifth-round project. He looks like a second-round gem, maybe even higher. And here's the part nobody's acknowledging. You don't win quarterback battles in June. You don't win them in July. You win them when the pads come on, when the defensive front is collapsing, when the clock's ticking, when instincts and intelligence collide under fire. And Stefanski knows this. He's not handicapping Shedeur, he's preparing him. He's not ignoring the hype, he's managing it. He's not holding him back, he's letting him brew. Because when the storm comes, and it will, when his starter falters, and it might, Stefanski doesn't want a rookie searching for his footing. He wants a weapon, forged in silence, ready for war. This is what strategic foresight looks like. By not thrusting Shadore Sanders into the starting lineup immediately, by resisting the temptation to place him with the first-team offense right out of the gate, Kevin Stefanski is doing something far more impactful. He's protecting his quarterback while letting him build momentum organically. Now think about what happens when training camp begins and Shedeur finally gets those first-team reps. If he performs anywhere near how he's been performing with the backups, it won't just be impressive, it'll be undeniable. According to recent reporting from NFL insider Adam Schefter, the Browns front office, led by Andrew Berry, is fully aligned with this developmental blueprint. They recognize what they potentially have on their hands. A draft day steal, a quarterback who had first or second round talent but slipped to the fifth due to narratives, not deficiencies. But behind the scenes, something far more calculated is unfolding.